This is We the Sales Engineers Podcast, show 327.
Welcome to We the SEs podcast, the show for sales engineers by sales engineers with your host, Ramsey Majaba.
What's up, SE Nation? Welcome back to another episode. Today we're talking AI because it is the thing to talk about these days. And it seems to be taking a lot of people, a lot of arguments, a lot of discussion. Is it going to replace? Is it going to augment? Is it going to help? But my guest today his name is Phillip Swan, and it seems that he's interested in AI and how to use AI within companies, not just for sales engineering, but in general to help companies advance and push forward in what it is that they do. And we kind of discuss his history about how he got into entrepreneurship because he's a co-founder and chief and go-to-market product director or product owner, head product man, and how he's building AI solutions for his customers and how he thinks about it. So without further ado, let's jump into the show. Hello, Phillip. How are you doing?
I'm great, Ramsey. How are you?
I am doing well. I want you to introduce yourself, but you just said you're so into pre-sales right now. I want to know what that means. So let's introduce yourself and then
Sure.
what that means.
Sure. So my name is Phillip Swan. I am Chief Product Officer and go-to-market for a company called the AI Solution Group. And we help companies reimagine their business with responsible AI. And so it's about architecting solutions. For these large enterprises, we focus on for companies who are really struggling how to bring AI into their organization.
Okay.
So my focus has always been on sales and in pre-sales. I started off life as an engineer, and so architecting solutions for customers is something that I've done my entire career, and it's about delivering those successful outcomes to the customers.
Okay. Like you've been in sales for a long time now. How long
Long
have you been
time.
doing that?
Oh my
I don't want
gosh.
to. I don't want to date you.
Well, my first sales job, I was 8 years old. How's that for jazz? And I firmly believe that everybody in a company is a salesperson. So you're always selling, and whether it's internal or external. And the, I've always had the customer in the center of every equation that I work on. So it's always about the customer. It's not that you let the customers bully you and tell you what to do or do anything like that. It's about delivering great outcomes to your customer. And I started off at 8. I started off with a paper route. I did my first distribution strategy at 9, where I hired 4 of my friends to expand my paper routes out. I sold up those 5 paper routes when I was 14 to buy baby clothes to do at a flea market. And as I sold to earn money, at 14 years old, and by the age of 16, I was going to Hong Kong to buy container loads of baby clothes for my flea market. I was up to 20 stalls in 14 different markets. And then when I was 20 and I graduated from university, I sold those off, and I had enough money to buy my first house at the age of 21, all from selling that.
So why did you even go to university? You're already a successful business person
My
beforehand.
passion has always been technology. My passion has always been about being an engineer, right, and building stuff, right. I love to, fundamentally, I love breaking stuff, right. So it's just like, in order to construct something new, you've got to break something first. So I love breaking problems and then solving those problems and building those up. That's fundamentally who I am. So think of me kind of like a hacker in any days, just liking to break shit. Excuse my
Okay.
French.
No, I think that was Scottish.
That's right. It was
You're
Scottish. You're right.
I did see your LinkedIn. You went to the University of Glasgow, so
Yes,
I'm
that's
assuming
right.
you're Scottish.
I am
Uh,
Scottish. The accent
okay.
is a little weird these days, but yes,
Yeah.
it's
Well, I couldn't place it. That's why I started doing some research right now. Okay, so you studied engineering, and you've been. I tell people that the best skill that anybody should learn is sales
yeah,
because they're going to use it throughout their lives, and you kind of
correct.
touched on that.
That's
And
exactly right.
it's hard for me to admit it because I went into engineering because I didn't
Mhm.
want to talk to people. and now
Yep.
I'm
It's
in
funny.
sales.
It's funny because I'm the same way, and I still don't like talking to people, but I do it because when I get into it, I actually enjoy it. So it's
Yeah,
in delivering value.
that's funny. I feel like I'm talking to myself. All right, cool.
That's right. There you go.
This is going to be easy then. You mentioned you're deep into pre-sales.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So the problem that we're solving right now is that there's a lot of hype and a lot of doom talk around artificial intelligence, and companies are just struggling of all sizes. Whether you're small or large, and the real thing for AI is how can you introduce it responsibly into your organization, right? And what that means is that it's good, it's safe, and it's ethical. So you really have to dig into the customer to understand what future they are solving for. So I literally ask the question of every customer I talk to, what future are you solving for? And they stop for a second because they haven't thought about it, because they're all typically thinking of, oh, I've got to do this next and this next and this next, as opposed to going to, this is what nirvana looks like for me. Now let's work back and reverse, and I call it reverse engineering it back to all the steps that need to do to get you to your dream, your vision, your objective, your goal. And so in pre-sales, it's about listening to customers, using these two things stuck at this side of your head, the ones that you've got those beautiful headphones over your ears right now, Ramsey,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
you got to listen. You got to talk. You got to ask provocative questions, open-ended questions. And I'm a big subscriber to Huthwaite's spin selling, which is where you really focus in on understanding the problem and really the pain points. And I don't even talk in pain points anymore, because everybody solves a pain point. I talk in terms of what's the migraine that you're trying to solve. Because if you're not solving a migraine, it's just noise. And so what does that mean? Well, a migraine can mean anything. Everybody who's listening to this has probably suffered a really bad headache or a migraine at some point in their life. We all have, right?
yeah,
It lasts for days and is brutal. And you will do anything to get a cure for it, almost anything. You will try weird concoctions that your grandma told you to use, or some new fancy drug that your doctor is telling you to use. Well, it's the same thing here, right? The migraine level problem is different for every company. It could be a revenue gap. It could be a safety issue. It could be an operational efficiency issue. Any number of use cases that can have in there. But really identifying what the problem is you're trying to solve, and then bringing a small pod of experts to really understand the customer problem. And I'm talking 2, 3, maximum 4 people to really dig deep in with the customer to draw them out of all the pain points, because they'll, not that they're lying to you, they'll never tell you the truth straight off, because it comes back to building trust, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
hearing you asking the right questions, listening to their answers, repeating back to them, going back to the basics of truly getting to the bare metal or fundamental truth of what the problem is you're solving.
Yeah. I mean, they might not even know the real problem, which is why they're not
That's
telling you.
exactly right.
Um,
Nine
so
times out of 10, they don't.
yeah,
I finally spoke to somebody yesterday for the first time in months who actually understood what the problem was that they were trying to solve. And
and
they're all smart people. It's not like it, because they think they're confusing symptoms with problems is the part of the issue.
yeah. Well, everyone is tied to like their own view, right? When I worked in support, my focus was a specific product, and
Yep.
everything was around that. But then I worked in network design. Now we had more products. Doesn't mean that I didn't know my problem when it came to that. I just had the symptom that
Yep.
affected me, and I thought that was the problem, but that was not the problem. It was just a symptom. So,
Another thing that we see is that there's a huge disconnect across the board between the CIO's office and the business, right? So the CIO is not doing what the business actually needs them to do. So there's that missing link, even though they claim to have it connected. We see it almost 100% of the time, this complete disconnect between the CIO and the business.
just to clarify some terms, when we say the business, are we talking about like the CEO? Are we talking about the sales team or
everything, sales, marketing, the tools that people need to come out of the CIO's office
right?
are not getting done because the CIO's office doesn't think in terms of business. They
Uh,
think of
yeah.
other things.
So if I were to rephrase it in my own words, like the CIO doesn't think about the business outcomes; he's just thinking about
Correct.
the information that he or she needs to work on.
Correct. Or
Okay,
in a way, and solving it in a way that's customer friendly and it's an internal customer for them, right? So
right.
where it's something they can actually use, right? They may solve a problem, but it may introduce infinite complexity to the solution when it should have just been a click of a button and just
Right.
let it run.
Well, if it's not complicated, it's not a real solution. That's how we engineers think. Uh,
Oh, you're talking about a pet peeve of mine and product, man.
are we talking about like? Because when I asked you the question, like you're getting into pre-sales, are these companies that are trying to implement pre-sales, or are we talking about enterprise, for example, that are trying to solve a problem?
They're trying to solve a problem. It's the latter.
Okay.
It's definitely on the latter. So this is a typical pre-sales engineering type solutioning pre-sales
Yeah.
discussion.
So you're being the pre-sales in that
I am.
situation. Okay. Uh,
I'm the SC. So
you're the SC. Well, you're the SE, and it seems like you're the sales, and you seems like to be having a lot of hats there. Uh,
yep,
but you're trying to solve a problem for a customer using
correct.
AI.
Using responsible AI.
Response.
Yes.
So this might be a stupid question, but hopefully you'll humor me with that. Does every company need AI to solve a problem?
So the short answer is yes, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
AI is not a new solution, okay? AI has been around conceptually since 1936. The term artificial intelligence was first used in 1954. There was a simple test created by Alan Turing, who was of imitation fame. He cracked the Enigma code in the World War II that effectively helped the Allies win World War II. He wrote a paper in 1950 that was effectively the father of modern computing. He invented the concept of a microprocessor, and he had this thing called a Turing test, which is where there's a human in the middle, and can the human determine whether they're speaking to a machine or another human? And if they can't tell the difference, the machine is intelligent. That's the simplicity of the test. The term artificial intelligence was first introduced in 1954 at a Dartmouth conference. And it was in 1960 we had symbolic artificial intelligence. In 1990s we had machine learning. If anybody's ever driven an early BMW, had one of the earliest cases of machine learning put into automobiles. And then we hit 2010 where we get into the modern era of AI. And then we got generative AI in 2019, which is when we all started using it, right? So GPTs and
Yeah.
various other tools out there, Anthropic, OpenAI, Google's Gemini, the list goes on. And now where we're at is that we are about to get to AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, is where the computer is acting and behaving as good as, if not better than, a human being on their own without any management. So, short answer to your question, everybody needs it. Why? People are not going to get replaced by artificial intelligence. That's number one. What you are going to get replaced with is somebody is augmenting themselves with artificial intelligence. And so companies, why does this flow up to the companies? Because their competition will be using AI to figure out their next moves. And there will be, within 5 years or less, the first one-person company that is entirely run by artificial intelligence that will be $1 billion or more in annual revenue. Think about that for a second. That will be a thing within 2 to 5 years.
Okay.
What does this mean for companies like Microsoft, for Google, for Dell, for Amazon? The list goes on. They're going to be disrupted like crazy with these companies, because you can now use artificial intelligence to do all your pre-sales, find a migraine level problem, build the code for that product, run the code, test the code, put the code into production, and collect the cash.
So we're not talking about someone going into ChatGPT and asking it a question. We're talking about something much more advanced.
Oh yeah, this is AGI.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to completely change the landscape for people. So why is this important for companies? Because if they don't get ahead of the curve now, they're going to be forever behind their competition, and their stock prices will diminish, their company values will diminish, their brand value will diminish, and more importantly, their customers will no longer be loyal to them. They'll be going to another brand that is meeting their needs.
Sometimes it's hard to get customers to change. Like they have a fleet of cars for their salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
You ask them to change from a Ford to Chevy, and they have a hard time with it. But now, like, how do you get people to see the value of changing their current way
It's
of
got
doing
a
things to
lot
make
of
it better?
education. It's a lot of education, and it's showing them a pathway to it to do it. So how we do it is like we show them how to build value with AI, right? So we actually teach our customers to do that. We then teach them to effectively build a factory for AI because everything's going agents, and we teach them how to do that. We show them how to do that, and then we teach them how to build an AI center of excellence. All in the meantime, we're building our own products that are also supporting this and their clients. So it's about showing the story. It's about storytelling, is what it comes down to. So traditional sales tactics still apply. Traditional sales engineering tactics still apply. It's just the mundane the mundane tasks are being automated like crazy. So, for example, I have agents for myself now. What do my agents do? It's all the crap that I don't like doing. Email, actually getting the not the writing of the content, because I do all my own writing, right? Because for multiple reasons. One, I enjoy doing it. Two, I'm educating myself as I'm writing it. And third, I have copyright on it. Using AI, you don't have copyright on your content. So, but what I use AI to is taking all that content and getting it all scheduled so I don't have to go through the formatting, putting the images in, you know, you're doing the videos. I have those workflows all automated now in the form of an agent. So it's literally, it just is running all the time, and it just happens. And all I have to do is feed it content, and it just happens. And then it allows me to do what I'm exceptional at, which is selling, right? So it's getting in front of customers, listening to their problems, and then doing the thing that I'm deeply passionate about, which is building product. And product that is actually useful and product that is actually going to deliver outcomes.
All right. Well, my daughter decided to drop by.
Oh, hi.
Hi, I'm recording. Love you, but sorry. She's not the one who got me sick, so I'm okay with her right now. Okay. So, like, you're using it in your business life on your own,
Yep.
and as a business, and you're helping businesses do it. I see like salespeople and SEs are like the CEO and the CTO of their territory and region.
Yep.
How should they be using AI as well?
Absolutely. Everybody should be using it. So you mentioned those terms, and I use very similar terms, right? You're the CEO of your own franchise, right, within the company. I use that term a lot. It's up to you to get resources and teaching them how to be that CEO. What I don't agree with right now is territories anymore. I'm a big believer in actually marrying the right salesperson to the right client, so that because people buy from people they like. That is not going to change, Ramsey, right? So it's about
Yeah.
finding the right person on your team to talk to the right client, no matter where they are,
Yeah.
irrespective of location.
I agree with that. All right, how would they, if they want to start thinking? Because
So
obviously
how
most
would they would do that? They would
yeah
start off by researching, right? So there's a very simple prompt to do, and in the beginning, it's simple words to do in front of every prompt. Don't hallucinate. Hallucination is a very real thing in artificial intelligence, and what that means is that it's representing data as truth and is being perceived as truth when in fact it's not. So you need to verify it. So the reason to put the words don't hallucinate or do not hallucinate in front of every prompt is that it actually narrows the model quite significantly. So it dramatically reduces the amount of hallucination in the output. And you write the prompt in a way that you would describe to your 6-year-old daughter, right? Or your 14-year-old son, or whatever. Very simple language, but not just the simple language, but very specific terms. So you imagine you've got yourself this ultra bright, toddler that will do absolutely everything that you say. You do precisely how you're going to do it, and then more. This is artificial intelligence today. That won't be in a month or 2 months.
Okay.
Or 3 months. It's crazy the pace, but where they would use it is on research, right? I know that my solution that I'm selling and I'm representing generates this value for this class of customers. Find me 50 companies that have the same problem as this company. It'll find me the target personas, right? So find me the CIO or the CTO or the VP of marketing or the director of marketing, whatever products you're trying to sell. Find the right title and identify those people for me who may have this problem, and it will do. Write me the scripts to my for sales enablement that will get me somebody to respond to me in the sequences. It will do all of that for you, and it will manage your time for you, because the thing that salespeople and SEs are particularly bad at, and I know this firsthand, is we're typically bad at managing our time, and this
Tell
helps
me
you
more
really.
about that. Tell me more about being better at managing our time. Like,
So when you look at a traditional salesperson, right? If you ask a salesperson how much time they actually spend selling, if they're really honest with themselves, it's between 35 and 40% of the time, right? Why is that? Because they've got all the other crap they've got to do, the admin tasks and everything else. You
yep.
hired them to be sellers. For God's sake, people, get them out selling. Don't have the CFO saying, "You give me this report here, do this in CRM there, do that." All of that's
Yeah.
important. Don't get me wrong. Believe me, I'm not saying it's not important, but
Yeah.
eliminate the friction so that the salesperson is not having to spend their weekends doing expense reports and reports for CRM that they've forgotten about because the meeting happened on Monday, but because they've been back to back to back to back through Friday, they're trying to remember what happened in the Monday morning meeting at 9:45, right?
Yeah.
And so
So
being able to have all of that captured for you and then summarized for you and then turned into actions that either go into your calendar or into CRM that are then prompting you from CRM, however you want to work, it enables you to work the way that you like to work while still providing the company the information they need and the cleanliness of the data that they need to go and run and operate the business.
like, is there software available right now that does that for a salesperson, or do they have to? Each has
Uh,
to build their own,
I'm
or is
getting
that what you
close.
do?
I'm getting close. The
That's
answer
what
is
you do?
no, but I'm getting close to it.
Okay, so there will be something.
Yes, there will be something.
I would love to see it when it's ready,
You know
because
what? I'll come back to you in a few months because I've got a few products to build out first. But we're probably 2 months away from having something I can show you, Ramsey. That would be quite
okay,
interesting.
good,
And I'm
because
using myself as the use case here, and
yeah,
then
you're using it.
I'm using for my wife's business because my wife has a language services company that provides interpreters to companies, hospitals, governments,
Okay.
etc., government agencies, etc. And you know, I'm going to take what I'm doing here for her company and see if I can replicate it. Because if I can replicate it, and my plan is I will replicate it, I can now scale that into other into other organizations, and I'd love to have you test that.
Oh, I'd be happy to, because you're basically giving me hope, and I really need it,
That's
because
right.
I don't. No, I haven't met a seller who likes to update CRMs, right, or
No,
manage their calendar,
no.
or set reminders for themselves. Actually, I was talking to someone today, and they were asking me, like, "Do you use a software that automatically reminds you?" Like, I wish there was one. I have to do everything manually. Like, I send out an email, I put it in my calendar that I have to follow up with them in 5 days or
It'll
whatever.
do all of it for you. That's
All right, all right, all right. You're getting me excited. I'm straightening up. So this
all
is
right.
this is going to be interesting. I look forward to that day. Uh,
It'll be
And,
sooner than you think.
yeah, well, I'll be reaching out. So, where was I? I got too excited now. I don't know where I was going.
Well, we were, yeah. So, but going back to the SE role, right? And
Yeah,
and really focusing in it. So imagine now that the SE is now just focused exclusively on using the part of the brain that gives them the superpower to be the SE of the arm, which is
yeah,
literally getting to a whiteboard and drawing out a solution for the customer, saying, "This is what I heard. Is this right?" And then
yeah,
and building out and then literally documenting everything. And so the customer goes like, "Wow, I want that."
yeah. Well, here's the thing that I see about sales engineering and where AI might disrupt that. A lot of them treat themselves as a data sheet. I'm here
Mm,
to answer questions. I'm not here to solve problems, which is kind
hmm,
of weird to say. But like especially old school SEs, they were hired more as support engineers, and their job is to jump on a call whenever the customer has a problem before they escalate
yeah,
to support, or hey, how many like OSPF routes if you're networking
yeah,
do you need to be able to do that? How many users can your server support? These kinds of questions, and they will be those people will be utterly replaced with AI, and if not already. Um, but that will also enable a lot of the great SEs to go out and do what you're saying in terms of
yeah,
like whiteboarding and solving problems for their customers. Uh,
correct.
yeah.
Yep,
Is-
that's exactly right. And hopefully it brings value to them. They have more free time to spend time with their friends and their family, right? And that's one of the things that this will give you, because you're like, oh crap, I've got to do email. I've got to spend 2 hours on email. No, your email's already done for you, right?
well, the biggest thing
I've
is
got,
RFPs.
right. Same thing with
That's
RFPs, because
yeah,
I've automated the process for my wife's company to respond to
yeah,
RFPs.
yeah,
It literally doesn't. I do a lot of the writing, but it gets done because I've got a private instance of an LLM that just does this, and
yeah.
it just churns those out. It's
That's
not cheating,
that's
by the way. It's not
no,
cheating.
well, no, it's automating.
It's automating. Yep.
Yeah, automating is not cheating, and also if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough. So, uh, um,
Part of me, honestly, part of me has been like, "Am I cheating doing this?" I mean, this is actually part of like I'm going, no, because guess what? If I'm not doing it, somebody else is going to be doing
well,
it.
it's not just that. Like I feel cheating is when you're doing something that harms somebody.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
you're doing
Yeah.
something like you know if you're in bodybuilding and you're all taking steroids, is it cheating? No. But if you're in a natural bodybuilding competition and someone's
Yeah.
taking steroids, then maybe yes. And in this case, we were doing this that just helps us help the customer better, right? So if you're doing that, well, how is that cheating? It's
It's not.
in
It's just the internal feeling where I'm going like, this normally. It's the old thing. Well, this would normally take me a week to do. I just did it in 5 minutes, right?
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
like, is
I,
this
I
good
like to.
enough?
There are things that I do is like, and then I say like, does it pass the grandma test? Like if I look at, can I look at my grandma in the eyes and be happy about it? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll be happy about doing that, even if it's too good to be true. And I feel like a lot of people have that same issue with finances, right? When I first switched from engineering into sales, my wife was so worried about me that I got a significant pay raise that she thought it was cheating. She
Hmm.
quickly got over that.
I'm
Uh,
sure she did.
yeah, but yeah, like, I feel like we sabotage ourselves there a little bit.
Yeah, we do, and you're absolutely right. This is actually about personal bias, right? And our own cognitive bias, right? And it's
Yeah,
this, the limiting factor in all of this is ourselves, right?
yeah, yeah,
And back to your grandma test, I couldn't agree more with you, because I've got to wake up in the morning every morning knowing that I'm doing everything ethically
yeah.
and responsibly.
Speaking of doing everything, you're looking at your LinkedIn. You're the chief product manager and go to
Officer, yeah,
officer and go to market,
yep,
um, and you're doing SE stuff. I'm
yep,
assuming you're also doing sales stuff.
absolutely. Yep.
How do you manage? Like you mentioned, you use AI. It could help you manage your time, but also you're doing so many different things. How do you actually prioritize what's more
So
important?
I do everything in P0s through P4. So I've got my P0s, P1s, P2s, P3s, right? My P0s right now are product and revenue, right? And they're intertwined and
Yeah.
and selling our offers. So that's where my time is spent. And
Can we
yeah,
pause there?
sure.
Uh, P0, you have building product and selling and revenue selling.
Yep.
I mean, they work together, but they also are against each other. If you're spending time selling, you're not spending time producting, and vice versa.
So
How
I'm
do you?
spending at least I'm dedicating at least 2, if not 4 hours a day on product, and
Okay.
the rest of my time is on selling. So, for example, when I get off, I mean, I've spent all morning on the phone with customers,
Yeah.
and this afternoon, once I'm done with you, I'm working all afternoon on product. That's how I do it. I just dedicate the time and break it out. So I organize, my time around the around customer meetings and when they can meet, and then I block out the time to work on product. That's how I'm doing it.
Is this considered selling right now?
Right now, what we're doing here,
Yeah.
everything's considered selling, right? I'm
Yeah.
I'm selling myself. I'm selling what our company does, and I'm selling what we do for our customers. Of course, I'm selling right now. I'm always selling, man.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see if it where it fits, but yeah, obviously
And it's the
it's
same way in product, right? Because I start off with the customer problem, right? And it's more
yeah.
than just a problem, it's a migraine. What is the migraine we're solving from? And I'm a process engineer when it comes down to it, right? So I literally sit in process maps and creating process maps about how you map out the entire customer experience in using the product, right? And then drive into from that into the requirements and building out the PRDs. And honestly, so I've got a great director of product management who sits under me, and he runs with the PRDs all day, every day. Right, so we follow the Amazon way in actually writing everything down. So we do 6 pagers and write everything down. We have business narratives. And we're really prescriptive. Everybody gets a chance to get their feedback and input. So we're very, very organized about how we actually go about building products. So this isn't Phillip Swan's whim of the day. This is about solving real customer migraines.
So for those who don't know, what are PRDs?
PRDs are product requirement documents, and so it's taking understanding of the customer migraine and putting it in a form that you can actually build a product around it. So this is the
Yeah.
document that goes into engineering that they will actually go and build your product
Uh,
for.
so in support, we used to have access to the PRDs, and they helped us a lot because
Yeah,
we always got tickets about what's supported and what's not, and that way I didn't have to go to engineering to see what's supported
that's
and
right.
what's not. Uh, so, do you have any sales or SEs working with you as well?
Yes, we do. So we're actually bringing them on board as we speak. So it's no longer just me. Right now, it's founder led, right? And we're
Yeah.
rapidly moving away from founder led. Even though I will always be selling, my partners will always be selling. I'm starting up our the initial sales team actually in October.
Okay. How did you make the decision to bring on a sales team? Because now you're giving up control.
It was back to your point of managing my time. At what point do I get suffocated and I can't do both jobs? And I'm at that point, right? So
Right.
I need somebody to offload. And our plan is to scale very, very quickly. So we need help. But again, we can leverage AI, seeing as we are an AI company, to help us get through the scaling without having to hire a whole bunch of people. So
Right.
we do not plan to be more than 100 people in our company. I mean, probably a lot less, right?
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
people we're hiring, the quality has to be there, number one, right? So
Right.
it's not just about somebody who fogs a mirror. It's actually got to be super expert at what they do, and are deeply passionate in the space that we're working in, so that they can deliver value to our customers from day one.
And any SEs or pre-sales as part of that
But
team?
yeah, so I'm hiring both. Uh, my initial as a pre-sales guy and a sales guy, and they're both men, unfortunately, right now that are lead candidates for the roles, but trying desperately to find women to fill that role is hard. And it's got to be people who are prepared to work hard, because we're all working hard. We're working literally 7 days a week right now, because things are moving so quickly. And the number of hours are crazy. So this is not a job for the faint of heart, right? This is a job you got to be passionate about. It's not a job; it's got to be a passion, and the drive for this company is success. So everybody will share in that success,
Right.
and hopefully make some people a bunch of money in the process.
Many companies, they hire like 10 salespeople before they hire their first SE. Why did you decide to hire a pair?
Because having a team, knowing myself, and when I switched out from being an engineer into a sales engineer, being teamed with a salesperson, I was actually teamed with 4 of them,
Okay.
Was incredibly valuable for them. What wasn't so valuable for me is that I was making these salespeople a whole bunch of money, and I
Yeah.
wasn't, which is why I insisted on me becoming a salesperson. And in the first year, guess what? I became the global salesperson of the year award in my first year. Why? Because I knew what the hell I was selling, and I knew who the hell I was selling to, and delivering those outcomes. So it was a no brainer for me, and I've just repeated that throughout my entire career. It's about
Good.
understanding your customer. I call it grokking your customer.
All right. So how are you going to enable that team? Like that's more work for you as well.
So the good, the key thing about enabling those teams is that we can use AI to create all the. We already have most of the content, because I've already created it. I created it for myself. Most of the content and the collateral out there, and enabling them is just like here. We're vertical agnostic. Like, so it's like here are the types of companies that we think we should go for, and having them leverage our tools to find them, not only the companies but the people within the companies that we need to be talking to have the initial discovery discussions with.
That's so funny. Like you would basically demo how you found them
Mm-hmm.
to show them how they can find their own
Yep.
customers.
Yep. Eat
That's
your
really
own
cool.
dog food.
Yeah. Yeah. I've worked with companies where they sell equipment to help testing, but they don't use that equipment themselves or that software themselves. I'm like, how do you
If you
expect me
don't
to
use
sell
the
that?
product yourself, how can you sell it?
And their objection was it's too expensive. I'm like, if it's too expensive for you, who is it not expensive for? So that
Yeah.
that pissed me off.
Yeah, I
um,
bet.
so Philip, we're coming to the end of our time. Is there a question you were hoping I was going to ask you, but I did not?
Well, I think it really drives back into what's the future for sales and sales engineering, right? In the advent of this, it doesn't go away. Is the short answer.
Yeah.
What I think the real question is that how do you are you it's self-questioning yourself. Am I deeply passionate about being an SE? Am I deeply passionate about being a salesperson? What future do I want to create for myself? So, and how can AI help me responsibly be the better me, right? And be a more efficient me? If you do that, your job is not going to get eliminated. You're not going to get replaced by a robot.
Yeah. Well, what I like about it as well is that there are things about you. You asked like, are you going to be passionate about sales engineering or sales? So I was shifted out of sales engineering into sales, and I feel like the things that I hate about sales could easily be solved with AI. We just don't have that solution yet,
That's
I
right.
guess. So maybe
As a
I might like it.
salesperson, we love talking to people, right? Even if we're
Yeah,
introverts and the engineers like you and I are, I still love talking to customers every day.
yeah, yep. That's well, they're well. I guess they're the reason I make a living. So,
Exactly.
I Philip, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing more about your
Awesome,
solutions
Ramsey. Appreciate
for
it.
sales engineering. Stick around for a second after we stop the recording,
Will do.
but appreciate it. And that's it. We're done. Curious, where do you see AI taking us as a people, as sales and professionals, SE professionals? Is it helping? Is it making things worse? There's research how creativity drops when you use AI. There's research about how great it is. So where do you stand on the AI chasm, if there is such a thing? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, I'm signing off.